Hare Krishna, and welcome everyone to our weekly Bhagavad Gita session. So, this is our first session in the new course that we are launching. We're launching Bhagavad Gita, a systematic study course, SSC. The Bhagavad Gita in the Vedic literature point of view, Bhagavad Gita is considered to be like initial education, and Srimad Bhagavatam is considered to be graduation, and Chaitanya Charitamrita is considered to be post graduation. So, in that sense, this name fits the purpose, because actually we are studying Bhagavad Gita. We are going to be studying Bhagavad Gita, and it's like getting a matriculate, that SSC matric degree. If we study Bhagavad Gita properly, if we can understand the nectar of Bhagavad Gita correctly, it's like getting that basic qualification that we require in order to understand Srimad Bhagavatam and Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita later. So that should be our goal. That should be our goal, that we not only stop after studying Bhagavad Gita, we also study Srimad Bhagavatam and Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita as and when the time will permit. So with that, let's get started with today's session. I know there are various groups who have we had one session, Gita Way session, last Sunday, and after that, a lot of you showed interest in continuing with the education, continuing with the study of Bhagavad Gita, going forward. And in the response to that, we have come up with this new course, which is systematic study of Bhagavad Gita. And we've also shared this link with some of our other groups where 18 session Bhagavad Gita was conducted, but it's never enough. It's never enough. It's completely unjust to discuss Bhagavad Gita one chapter in one session of 1 hour, and it should be avoided. This is, people study Bhagavad Gita for lifetime. What to speak of, if somebody is trying to cover it in 1 hour, it's we are not able to do justice to the scripture and to Lord. So this endeavor where all of us can come together and learn something more from Bhagavad Gita as we progress. The topic for today, so we will follow a topic model where we will, every session can be looked at as an independent session, as well as every session will be also a continuation from where we in the flow of Bhagavad Gita. So we'll begin from the first page of Bhagavad Gita, that is setting the scene, and we will continue in this way throughout the Bhagavad Gita. So each session can be considered as one independent station. At the same time, there will be flow. There will be continuity from the previous session also. So it's it's going to be a long duration study course. Hare Krishna. Yes, it's going to be a long duration course. So even if, and there will be times and days when those Sundays will not be available, so we'll miss you. You can miss some of those sessions. My request to you all is to catch up whatever sessions that you miss on in the by way of recording, and also do not stop just because you have lost couple of sessions, because as we said, we'll try and make every session as a standalone session. And so even if you have missed 2 3 sessions in a row due to travel, due to vacation, or due to your work, uh, or any other difficulty that you might face, whenever possible, resume your study. You will not will ensure that you don't miss anything. Every week we'll continue to share the recording of our sessions. Last Sunday also we shared the recording, and a lot of people took advantage of that. Um so those also will be available if somebody misses out. So very happy to share those recordings. We are recording these sessions. Also, during the session we will circulate a small feedback form. The purpose of feedback form is two-way. One is, to understand how much you are and able to understand how much you are grasping. We will have more than 200 participants in this session as well. But so it will not be difficult for us to speak with every one of you. And because for that, you should utilize the feedback form mechanism. We will try to create feedback form for every session and request you all to, all 154 of you and those who will join subsequently, to use those feedback forms to communicate with us. And we'll be happy to get in touch with you over a week, over the next week, until but so that when we so the two-way communication can also be maintained. It's not just one way, two-way communication can be maintained. During the session, as we did last Sunday, and we are too often, we create some opportunity for group discussion wherever possible, wherever time permits. And also at times we will ask you to use chat box to mention some of your thoughts. We download the file from Zoom, and we are able to go through all the feedbacks that you might give through chat. We should be able to do that, capture those feedbacks as well. So today also we'll have a couple of times we'll request you to mention something in the chat box. Go there and feel free to uh, share your thoughts, and we will read those thoughts, if not during the session, at least after the session, and we can get back to you. Feedback forms are crucial because we will get your phone number. In Zoom we can't get your phone number, so it's difficult for you to relate who the person is. And even if you ask a question or express a concern, we are unable to get to your phone number, because we'll not know who that person is unless you fill the feedback form and share it with us. So that's another purpose the feedback form serves, the Google form serves. So this is the housekeeping items. So one more tip, one more request to all of you will be to log in using your real name, your first name, last name. Is the best, because there could be more than one Priyankas, two Madhavs, three four Madhavs, two four five Priyankas in the session, and we'll not really be able to tell who is who. So best is to log in with your first name, last name, so that when you fill the feedback form, we are able to connect back with you. And also, also a lot of people leave their Zoom name as their mobile name, iPhone. In last Sunday, there were 8 iPhones in our session. It doesn't give me any information. It doesn't make sense. So if you're joining the session, please, my request to you all is to log in using your first name, last name, so that we definitely want to know who you are. We want this to become safe place. And if we find, our volunteers will be pinging you, or sending you a chat message to, if they see your login name is not correct, login name is some mobile, or Samsung or something like that, they will ping you to remind you to change your login name to who you are. We want to know who you are all, and we want to have open communication as well. So please change your name to your real name, first and last name. That's the best way to express your name. With this, we'll jump into today's topic: 3 M's, me, my, mine. We'll soon find out what it is all about. And as we said, Bhagavad Gita, last Sunday we discussed this. It's a book of transformation. The the Arjuna, who was crying at the beginning, has picked up his bow and arrow and is now ready to fight. So this book demonstrate how a person can be transformed, how person requires transformation. A person like Arjuna's caliber also requires transformation. So hence all of us should consider ourselves as eligible candidates for transformation. So we want to transform, we want to study Bhagavad Gita so that we can help ourselves with the transformation journey. We can undertake this transformation journey together. It's like a sick person goes to a doctor because he wants to recover from the sickness. He wants to change. And with that desire to change from the sick condition to healthy condition, he goes to a doctor. Similarly, we are approaching Bhagavad Gita, we are approaching Lord Krishna. He is the supreme doctor, and we want him to change us for the better. We want him to transform us for the better. We want to be better, and therefore we are volunteering ourselves to study Bhagavad Gita, the words spoken by Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Sri Krishna, personally to Arjuna, and through Arjuna to all of us. So be ready to undertake this transformation journey, all of us together. Okay, so with this, let's begin. Let's begin. The Bhagavad Gita book. I hope my request to you all is to get a copy of Bhagavad Gita, a physical Bhagavad Gita book like this. This is Bhagavad Gita. We received this in ISKCON Juhu Temple when we attended our first session on Bhagavad Gita back in 2013. And this still has a date called somewhere in June we started our journey. So 8 June 2013 is the date on which we got hold of this Bhagavad Gita. And so this is my personal book. After that, I would have probably read this book number of times. So similarly, all of you should have one personal copy of Bhagavad Gita for your own self. All 163 of you should have a personal copy of Bhagavad Gita for yourself, and where you should read regularly, you should mark important things, important paragraphs, important statements for your reminder, so that whenever next time you visit Bhagavad Gita, those pages are able to catch your attention, and you can then read it effectively. So have a copy of Bhagavad Gita, personal copy of Bhagavad Gita. Even if you are attending as a family, all of you should have your personal copy of Bhagavad Gita, and that's what we have. My request to you all is to have it one for yourself as well. Bhagavad Gita opens, this book of Bhagavad Gita opens by Prabhupada capturing the story of Mahabharata in a brief. And as we are going through this journey, we will also not jump will not jump pages. We will go follow the pattern that's been given in the physical book by Srila Prabhupada. So setting the scene, as I said, this basically will capture the story of महाभारत in brief. इसमें महाभारत की कथा बताई गई है बहुत बहुत संक्षेप में, शॉर्ट में. And to start with, Dhritarashtra and Pandu were brothers born in the Kuru dynasty, descending from King Bharata, a former ruler of the earth from whom the name Mahabharat was derived. Now, because Dhritarashtra, the elder brother, was born blind, the throne that otherwise would have been his was passed down to the younger brother Pandu. This this says something significant, statement that the personal qualities were valued more than just the timing of the birth. The timing of the birth determines who is elder and who is younger. But that is not the sole criteria for somebody to become king. Dhritarashtra was blind by birth, and hence he was not thought fit to become king for the betterment of the people. Now, this is a significant message because in today's world, you know, this is exactly can become the problem because children, generally the elder children, elder child actually claims um, to be the to be to be the inheritor for his father, to inherit, to basically inherit the business of his father, the wealth of his father, the property of his father, and then the other brothers may claim their respective shares. But the elder son, the qualitative analysis over just timing, who is elder, who is younger, that was considered to be more important. Then just considering the timing of the birth, which determines elder and younger. Same happened in case of Nanda Maharaj. Nanda Maharaj was not the eldest of his brothers. He was the middle brother. But his qualities were so beautiful, so much. Everyone loved him so much that they unanimously decided him to make the king of their community. And so that's important point to note for all of us, that the it's the quality that matters, not just the timing of the birth. Let's move forward. When Pandu died at an early age, his five children, Yudhishthir, Bhima, Arjuna, Nakula, and Sahadeva, came under the care of Dhritarashtra, who in effect became, for the time being, the king. Who in effect became, for the time being, the king. He became king not for perpetuity, not permanent. It's a temporary, it was a stopgap arrangement, as we call it. So he became a time being king, not because of his qualification. He was not qualified, he was not considered fit to become a king. But since there was no one else, and Dharmaraj, Yudhishthir was very young, he was for the time being made king. They all started and then, as naturally, the prince, princess, all those prince started their education, especially the military art, under the guidance of Dronacharya. Here we see Bhima is being surrounded by snakes, and under that second picture, we see Pandavas are escaping from the Lakshagraha fire. The home was set on fire, um, and these Pandavas with their mother escaped through a tunnel with the help from their uncle Vidura. So the sons of Dhritarashtra, especially the eldest Duryodhana, hated and envied the Pandavas, and the blind and weak-minded Dhritarashtra wanted his sons, not those of Pandus, to inherit the kingdom. Thus, Duryodhana, and with Dhritarashtra's consent, plotted to kill the young sons of Pandu, and it was only by the careful protection of their uncle Vidura and their cousin Lord Krishna that the Pandavas escaped the many attempts against their lives. Duryodhana challenged the Pandavas to a gambling match. As a Kshatriya, you're not supposed to reject a proposal, any challenge that is thrown at you, especially. And Dhyuta Krida was considered to be such a krida allowed for the kings at that time, which is and if someone gets invitation for that, you are, as a matter of etiquette, you're not supposed to decline it. So Yudhishthir accepted the invitation on his behalf. No, he played on behalf of all the Pandavas, and on Duryodhana's behalf, his maternal uncle Shakuni, his mama Shakuni was playing, and Shakuni was expert in cheating in this particular game. And so Duryodhana and his brothers uh, Duryodhana challenged Pandavas to a gambling match. Duryodhana and his brothers took possession of Draupadi, the chaste and devoted wife of the Pandavas, and insultingly tried to strip her naked before the entire assembly. Krishna's divine intervention saved her, but the gambling match, which was rigged, cheated the Pandavas of their kingdom and forced them into 13 years of exile. Upon completing that 13 years of exile and 1 years of disguise in the Virat Raj, Pandavas returned from exile and rightfully requested for their kingdoms. At that time, Pandavas were ruling Indraprastha, and Dhritarashtra and Duryodhan were ruling Hastinapur. These two kingdoms were nearby, but still they were separate kingdoms. And so Pandavas rightfully claimed their kingdom, Indraprastha kingdom, back when they returned. The five Pandavas reduced their request to a mere five villages. But
Okay.
Duryodhana arrogantly replied that he won't spare them enough land into which to drive a pin. सुई के नोक के बराबर भी मैं उनको जमीन नहीं दूंगा. That kind of a statement Duryodhana made, and as a result, this happened during Lord Krishna's visit. Lord Krishna visited Hastinapur as a Shanti Doot, and he tried intervening between the two families. Both were related with him, so he thought if it will help if he can avoid war. If he can avoid war by, and he asked on behalf of Pandavas that instead of, if you don't want to give Indraprastha, at least give 5 villages. Pandavas are Kshatriyas. Kshatriyas need to rule. Kshatriyas need to follow their dharma. And for that to happen, they need some land. So you give them 5 villages, they will be happy. The war can be avoided. Now, Dhritarashtra had a kingdom, was practically ruling the whole earth. Giving small 5 villages was not really, could not have been his bigger trouble, should not have been a big trouble for him. If he is able to avoid war just by handing over those 5 villages, that was a great deal that came across, that came to him. But he continued to remain dependent on Duryodhana for making all the decisions. And Duryodhana declared that he will not give even a smallest piece of land to the Pandavas. And then the war became inevitable, unavoidable. Dhritarashtra failed here in both ways. He was father of all the Kauravas, Duryodhana, and it is duty of a father to discipline your child. And he failed to do that. Right from childhood, he never really disciplined Duryodhan, and as a result, Duryodhan extremely became arrogant. Dhritarashtra was also king of Hastinapur, even though for a temporary time, but he was the king. He was king at that time, and it was his duty to protect his kingdom from unnecessary war, from an unnecessary war, his kingdom, his soldiers, his army, because war affects everyone. War just don't affect those who go onto the battlefield, but it certainly affects their family. It certainly affects the social order, the social system, in which the army is just one part. And a war of this magnitude, where such a mass killing happened, was if it could have been avoided simply by giving 5 villages, that was great deal. But Dhritarashtra failed to even help his own kingdom with this as well. And hence the single blame for war came on his head. The He took single-handedly, he took the entire blame for the whole war. He was considered to be the one who could have avoided it simply by handing over 5 villages to the Pandavas, but he failed to do that. So he became single-handedly responsible for entire war. That was very unfortunate. So the scene of war, this is where we were last Sunday, and this is where we are, and this is where we will stay here for long time until we finish our study of Bhagavad Gita. Krishna spoke his the entire Bhagavad Gita in the middle of two armies. Arjuna heard attentively this Bhagavad Gita in the middle of two armies just before the war was about to begin. The war where all of these people, the mass killing were to happen. So it was a serious occasion. It was a serious occasion, and so only the serious talk was given by Lord Krishna. In the serious place, you don't talk rubbish, you don't talk garbage, you don't talk nonsense. Only what is most important will be brought up for discussion in such a place. And hence, the entire Bhagavad Gita is of great significance. Otherwise, they could have chosen some other place to sit and chit chat and then speak those 700 verses. But they chose this background, this backdrop deliberately. And that's the significance of Bhagavad Gita. That's the importance of Bhagavad Gita. That's the urgency of Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita is not to be studied when you have no capacity to see, no capacity to hear. You become useless. You can't read, you can't hear, you can't see. And that stage of your life, flag end of your life, you're not supposed to read Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita is we are supposed to study Bhagavad Gita when we are young. If not, then the next best time is now. If not, then next best time is now. So all 177 of all of us together should not give up the study of Bhagavad Gita. And that's uh, one resolution we should make to ourselves, one vow we should take for ourselves and for our own benefit. We're talking about Bhagavad Gita. Let's go to chat box. Let's go to chat box and start typing. What is your motivation for studying Bhagavad Gita? Bhagavad Gita, a lot of people give a lot of interpretations of Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita is a book of motivation. We see discourage Arjuna and encourage Arjuna. So if you want to motivate someone, give them Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita is a great philosophical book. So if you are someone who likes intellectual discussion, study Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita is is a political book. If you want to chal kapat karna hai, if you want to study that, maybe a lot of people will say that you can learn Bhagavad Gita from that. If you want to learn Sanskrit, then maybe by studying Bhagavad Gita you can learn Sanskrit. So many people attribute so many reasons for Bhagavad Gita, for studying Bhagavad Gita. So many people attribute so many different reasons for studying Bhagavad Gita. I want to know what is your motivation for studying Bhagavad Gita. Go to chat box and everyone please start typing. I'll give 1 minute. And it can be small purpose. You can expand it later, but it can be a small purpose where we come up with our reason, our own personal reason, and don't read other people's answer. They don't know what's inside your mind. Only you know. So give your answer. I will retrieve this file later. So don't worry. I will get to all the answers later. If I'm not able to receipt everything now. Those who joined just now, make sure that you don't get dropped. Don't take calls. It's okay. Focus on the. We are taking it very seriously. I expect all of you also to be very serious, sincere in studying Bhagavad Gita. So we are now doing an activity. What is? I want to know. I want you to type in the chat box. What is your motivation for studying Bhagavad Gita? I'm getting a lot of answers. Very nice answers. Okay. If you're done with this, go to the next question. uh, so this is besides basically the same thing. We've already done that activity. Now we will go through the preface of Bhagavad Gita, where Prabhupada explains this point very in a very nice way. And he also addressed the question why so many Bhagavad Gitas. So if it is one Bhagavad Gita, it's the same Sanskrit verses, 700 Sanskrit verses, then why so many interpretations are required? Why so many people are trying to interpret Bhagavad Gita in different ways? If you go to a marketplace, if you go to a bookshop, a library, and ask for Bhagavad Gita, you will at least get 10 different types of Bhagavad Gitas or books on Bhagavad Gita. Why we have so many versions of Bhagavad Gita? So many, and is it that all Bhagavad Gita it's just the language difference? No. the content are different, the interpretations are different. Many politicians have written books on Bhagavad Gita, and their Bhagavad Gita does not even cover the verses part of it. They have not even bothered to quote the verses also. So it just starts from the text directly. And the interpretations, they have given what they thought it to be right. What was what so everyone is trying to bring out their own personal versions of Bhagavad Gita. So in this kind of a situation, in this kind of situation, how do we know which is accurate copy of Bhagavad Gita, which is correct Bhagavad Gita? So Prabhupada, that's the reason why Prabhupada came out with a publication of Bhagavad Gita. He wanted to give Bhagavad Gita to his devotees so that they authentically understand what Krishna wants, Krishna is trying to say. Bhagavad Gita is like a law book, a bare act. Those who are into law, there are those who have studied law, some kind of law. They understand that there is a bare act, and then there are case laws, case studies. So bare act is something that it's like Bhagavad Gita is like that bare act, and case studies is like Bhagavatam, where various devotees across different time zones have lived the instructions of Bhagavad Gita, and how they have followed, how they were able to follow the instructions of Bhagavad Gita is seen. It's like a studying case studies are where the law was applied. Similarly, those lives of devotees where we who lived the life according to the instructions of Bhagavad Gita, we study that to know how we can model our life so that we can also benefit from the instructions of Bhagavad Gita. We can also try to live life according to the instructions of Bhagavad Gita. So, preface, why so many Bhagavad Gitas? So, when this book was first published in original manuscript, unfortunately cut short to less than 400 pages. So, Prabhupada giving history of current ISKCON Bhagavad Gita, that is Bhagavad Gita as it is. Now, this is not the first time that Prabhupada published this book. Prabhupada wanted to publish Bhagavad Gita, but there were many difficulties he was facing. The only one publisher who agreed to publish Bhagavad Gita was Macmillan, and they were a reputed publishing house in United States of America. And Prabhupada agreed for that. Prabhupada agreed, and then but they had a condition. They made a condition that the book should not be more than 400 pages. So Prabhupada had to cut short many purports, many in much lot of information he had to cut short in order to fit the book in that limit. So Prabhupada always had this regret that he's not able to give the entire Bhagavad Gita to his devotees. So when the Bhaktivedanta Book Trust was established, BBT was established, Prabhupada, the first thing Prabhupada did was to come up with copy of Bhagavad Gita, the entire Bhagavad Gita, with all the parampara purports. The system, and in this particular book, Prabhupada has a style. Prabhupada has a style of giving Bhagavad Gita, and he's used that throughout his texts, all his books. The three primary books that Prabhupada gave is Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, and Chaitanya Charitamrita. And all these three books, Prabhupada gives the give the original verse in Sanskrit, or the original verse, basically, whichever language, Chetan Chatamrut, it is Bengali. So Prabhupada gives the original verse, it's in English transliteration. Now, what does this mean? It means basically, if you read English, you should be able to pronounce Sanskrit. Sanskrit verse comes in Devanagari, and the English transliteration comes in English language, which if you pronounce it as is, you should be able to pronounce Sanskrit. Word for word, Sanskrit to English equivalent, and translation and purport in English or whichever language that you have chosen. So in Hindi, this will be Hindi. In Marathi, it will be on Marathi, in Marathi. So this, what does this do? This makes the book very authentic and scholarly, and makes meaning self-evident. Now you this way. it becomes completely transparent. You're given word for word Sanskrit to English equivalent also. So after, if you study this, no way you can misunderstand any information. Now that is very, very crucial. The lot of people read the same verse but come up with completely different meaning of that verse because they don't have the right understanding of the verse. The words used in Sanskrit some carry different meanings according to the context in which it is used. so so it's important to understand the overall context also, and that's the benefit that we get when we study Srila Prabhupada Bhagavad Gita as it is. Prabhupada writes further in the preface, thus the present attempt is to offer the original manuscript of this great book of knowledge with full parampara explanation in order to establish the Krishna consciousness movement more soundly and progressively. So the movement ISKCON, the Bhagavad Gita, ISKCON, the Krishna consciousness, the movement of Krishna consciousness that Prabhupada started in 1966 is founded is based on the strong foundation of Bhagavad Gita, and in which Prabhupada has included all parampara explanation. Parampara means disciplic succession. You hear from your guru, and he has heard from his guru, and this parampara goes back to Lord Krishna himself, so that the meanings are not lost. Nobody is trying to give one own interpretation. You can give your example, but the principle should remain same. And that's the benefit of studying Bhagavad Gita in parampara or in disciplic succession. Prabhupada writes further, our Krishna consciousness movement is genuine, historically authorized, natural, and transcendental due to its being based on Bhagavad Gita as it is. The absolute position of Krishna is difficult to understand for any person who is not a devotee of Krishna in the system of parampara, which means disciplic succession. Generally, the so-called scholars, now Prabhupada is talking about those people who have written commentaries on Bhagavad Gita without being a devotee of Krishna, Lord Krishna. They didn't made Krishna to be the goal of their life, but because it was because they came across this book, they wanted to write a commentary on this book. They wrote those commentaries. Now Prabhupada is commenting on those commentaries. Those so-called scholars, now Prabhupada used this to kind of a terminology, the so-called scholars, so-called Mayavadis, it's like that, so-called scholars, so-called devotees, so-called scholars, politicians, philosophers, and swamis without perfect knowledge of Krishna try to banish or kill Krishna when writing commentaries on Bhagavad Gita. Such unauthorized commentary upon Bhagavad Gita is known as Mayavada Bhashya, and Lord Chaitanya has warned us about these unauthorized men. So, a lot of people have written commentaries on Bhagavad Gita, and many of them have even tried saying that the whole war never took place, is all metaphoric, and it was just to give us a background, a nice background, so that we can the we can this the whole conversation becomes a little bit more interesting. So the war never took place. Now that's not right. Uh, this is like throwing Krishna out of Bhagavad Gita, the original speaker, because that way, just create a mess in the whole interpretation, and it's all wrong and it's all offensive to Lord Krishna. So one should be very careful in understanding which Bhagavad Gita one is studying. You may have 10 different types of Bhagavad Gita in your room or in your home, and there's no need to study all of those. But you should catch hold of Srila Prabhupada Bhagavad Gita as it is, and if you can study this one Bhagavad Gita, that is sufficient for you to attain the purpose of studying Bhagavad Gita. What is the purpose? Is given in the next paragraph. The result of such a blunder will be that the misguided student of Bhagavad Gita will certainly be bewildered on the path of spiritual guidance and will not be able to go back to home, back to Godhead. This is the purpose of studying Bhagavad Gita. Prabhupada gives the purpose of studying Bhagavad Gita within Bhagavad Gita itself, preface. Any if you're reading any other Bhagavad Gita other than Srila Prabhupada Bhagavad Gita, it will not it some of it may not even have Lord Krishna as the central character. Some of them will present Krishna as some intellectual man, an intelligent man who was giving some motivational talk to his friend. Some may even consider as Krishna as one of the god. Some may even consider Krishna to be a completely um, imaginary person talking to another imaginary person. So all of those will defeat the whole purpose of we experiencing transformation for better. And finally, that transformation can help us go back to Godhead. So this is the primary purpose of if we can study Bhagavad Gita, we will get to know what is the goal of life, what is the goal of human life, and what is it that we are supposed to attain at the end of our life. How should we give up our body, how should we live before that, and what to do, what not to do, how to control our mind, what is really causing us to what is a what is a problem area, what will not allow us to attain this purpose, which are our who is our biggest enemy. And you'll be surprised to know our biggest enemy is inside us, our own mind. So, and why does this mind becomes our enemy? Because it is producing so many unwanted desires, and to fulfill those desires, lifetime gets wasted without studying Bhagavad Gita. And when your end time comes, if you have not studied Bhagavad Gita, you don't know how to give up your body, how to live, how to die, you don't know. And then you come back go back into the womb of another mother, live another life, could be a dog's life, could be a cat life, could be a human life in much better material conditions or much worse material conditions. And the journey continues, the journey of Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadhi continues endlessly, perpetually. So this cycle has to be broken. And Bhagavad Gita, study of Bhagavad Gita will help us break that barrier and bring clarity in the purpose of our life. And then we can act wisely. We can act according to the instructions of Bhagavad Gita. We can act carefully. We can be very careful in while acting, and accordingly we can make our lifetime successful. So Bhagavad Gita study is that crucial. Our success in our life depends on how sincerely we are studying Bhagavad Gita and we are following the principles that we are learning in Bhagavad Gita. Otherwise, the life can get wasted in no time. In the blink of an eye, the lifetime can go, and we will not figure out at the end of it why we were born, why we went through so much trouble. Everything has to be taken away at death from me, then why was I given so much? And what's the purpose of it? Was it worth it? We spent whatever 50, 60, 70, 80 years going through so much of so much of difficulties, sometimes laughing, sometimes crying. And towards the end of our life, we are struggling with so many diseases. Can't see, can't hear, can't eat. Whatever we eat doesn't get digest. Uh, Oxygen level drop, BP go up and down, sugar go up and down. I get succumb to any disease. Any new virus can catch hold of me and make me dance to his tune. I fall down, I break bones, it doesn't get healed due to advanced age. So endless ways in which we can suffer, endless ways. Most of us doesn't even realize that we have gallbladder. The gallbladder cannot become happy, but if it starts plaining, it has to be pulled out of our body. It has to be operated and pulled out of our body. So there's no happiness for gallbladder, but that gallbladder can cause us enormous pain. enormous pain, and so much so that we will be forced to undergo a surgery and cut and remove that entire organ out of our body. Similarly, there are so many body parts inside us which does not have any happiness, but if they start troubling us, they can give us enormous amount of pain. So much pain we go through, we are going through, all of us. What's the purpose of it? If it is, it will, if I simply have to die and take another birth, what am I missing? What am I missing in this? Why am I going through this cycle? How can I break out of this cycle? And what it will take me? It will take me the study of Bhagavad Gita to break out of that cycle. Prabhupada gives right in the preface itself. Prabhupada is giving this entire information. Prabhupada writes, this purpose of going back home, back to Godhead, is stated in Bhagavad Gita, and we have to accept it as it is. Otherwise, there is no point in trying to understand the Bhagavad Gita and its speaker, Lord Sri Krishna. Lord Krishna first spoke Bhagavad Gita to the sun god some hundreds of millions of years ago. We have to accept this fact and thus understand the historical significance of Bhagavad Gita without misinterpretation on the authority of Krishna. Very significant question. Krishna says in fourth chapter of Bhagavad Gita that gave this knowledge. Initially, I spoke this knowledge to sun god, who was king of all planet. Now, Arjuna actually asks this question in the fourth chapter, saying that you and me have taken birth now, and sun god is Prachin. So, how am I to understand that you spoke this knowledge to sun god at the beginning of creation? Now, this is significant information. It's significant information in terms of understanding Krishna's position, in terms of understanding how great Krishna is, whose devotees we wish to become, how great that person is, what is his authority, what is his credibility. He's the one who existed when nothing existed. He's the one who has created everything. None of it came out of bang. In bang, only destruction happens. A flower, beautiful rose petal flower, does not get created out of a bang. A sweet mango cannot emerge out of a bang. Okay. A beautiful fragrant mogra flower cannot come out of a bang. It's all there in the earth, and it comes out in a form and shape that are consumable, that we are able to perceive and consume. And that is happening because it is been made to happen in that particular way. A factory does not come up on its own from a bang. A factory is carefully set up. It's a work of an intelligent man. Similarly, this world which produces mango and roses and mogra and safa uh, is not work of a bang, is work of an intelligent man, and that intelligent person is Krishna. So to interpret the Bhagavad Gita without, so Prabhupada is saying that now that is the credibility of Krishna, that is the authority of Krishna, and that is the significance of this knowledge. That this knowledge was given to the kings, king like sun god, and also to understand that historically this knowledge always existed. Also to understand that this knowledge always existed. It's not a freshly concocted knowledge. अभी क्वेश्चन पूछा मैं अभी जवाब दे देता हूँ, and that it's like that, it's I'm freshly thought through. ऐसा नहीं है. This knowledge always existed. स काले नेह महता योगो नष्ट परंतप. In the course of time, it appears that this knowledge is lost. This is what Krishna speaks in the fourth chapter of Bhagavad Gita, that it appears that this knowledge has been lost. So I'm re-establishing this knowledge, making you the first recipient of this knowledge in the current time. So it's not that Arjuna got bewildered by chance. It was by design. It was by the divine arrangements of Lord Krishna that Arjuna got bewildered, so that Krishna can establish this knowledge in for the benefit of all of us. So this person, this information, uh, this is the crux. This is the fundamental foundation on the basis of which Bhagavad Gita can be understood. Anybody who does not agree with this, anybody who does not accept Krishna's authority, and if he end up writing commentary on Bhagavad Gita, it's going to be all wrong. Therefore, Prabhupada is warning us repeatedly uh, against committing a blunder of studying wrong Bhagavad Gita. So to interpret Prabhupada writes that to interpret Bhagavad Gita without any reference to the will of Krishna is the greatest offense. In order to save oneself from this offense, one has to understand that the Lord, as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, as he was directly understood by Krishna, by Arjuna, Lord Krishna's first disciple. Such understanding of Bhagavad Gita is really profitable and authorized for the welfare of human society in fulfilling the mission of life. What is the mission of life? The go back home. Go back home, back to Godhead. We came from there and we need to go back there. Everyone should know how God or Krishna is great. We have a name for God. We have supreme personality of Godhead. We have a name. That person has a name. That person is a person, has a form, has he likes things, he has desires, he likes things, he dislikes things. So he is just like us. It's just he's a supreme person, but he's still a person. He has feelings, he likes certain, he likes, if we celebrate Rath Yatra, he likes it. If we don't participate in studying Bhagavad Gita, he feels bad about it. So he by studying Bhagavad Gita, by attending these classes, we are doing something which is making him happy, which is bringing us closer to him, because he will take 10 steps towards us. If we choose to take this one step towards him, he will take 10 steps towards us because he loves us so much. Prabhupada writes, everyone should know how God is great. Means Krishna is great. Prabhupada clarify, God means Krishna. Krishna is great. Everyone should know how Krishna is great, and everyone should know the factual position of the living entities. Now, what is that? Everyone should know that a living entity is eternally a servant, and that unless one serves Krishna, one has to serve illusion in different varieties of the three modes of material nature, and thus wander perpetually within the cycle of birth and death. Even so-called liberated Mayavadi speculators has to undergo this process. This knowledge constitutes a great science, and each and every living being has to hear it from for his own interest. You are studying Bhagavad Gita for your own interest. I am studying Bhagavad Gita for my own interest. And we have to be selfish to serve the to to be for hoping to get benefit out of such a study. We have to be selfish. Nobody can study for on behalf of someone else. You have to do, it's like flying your own aeroplane. I can fly my aeroplane, but you have to fly your aeroplane. I can help you a little bit, but you have to be motivated yourself to this flight, to take up this flight. And you know Prabhupada writes that every living being has to hear it for his own interest. Now, very significant. Uh, Prabhupada writes here the purpose of living entity. The everyone should know that a living entity is eternally a servant, and unless one serves Krishna, he has to serve the illusion in different varieties. This is again significant portion of Bhagavad Gita will be dedicated towards understanding our own position. Prabhupada explains that a little bit further. A living entity is happily the part and parcel of the Lord, and thus his natural function is to render immediate service to the Lord. By the spell of illusion, one tries to be happy by serving his personal sense gratification in different form, which will never make him happy. Instead of satisfying his own personal material senses, he has to satisfy the senses of law of the Lord. That is the highest perfection of life. The Lord wants this and He demands it. One has to understand this central point of Bhagavad Gita. Very significant page. A lot of highlighted areas, but the whole page is very significant. This hand by itself is a complete unit. Uh, this hand, if one has ability to chop this from this place and attach it to some other person who does not have, it should serve the purpose. It is fully functional. It has five fingers, all the nerve system is correct, but this hand is useful as long as it is attached to my body. The moment it gets separated, it loses its utility. How does this hand get nourished? The hand, no, the whole body get nourished from food. So obviously the hand also today get nourished from the food which I consume. The hand has no capacity to eat food on its own. If hand wants nourishment, this hand is forced to put food into my mouth. Who will have to supply it to my stomach? And from stomach, when it get digested, turns into juices, it flows and nourishes the entire body. So this hand, if it wants to be happy, it cannot eat rasgulla or gulab jam on its own. If he try doing that, he will be frustrated. He will be frustrated. There will be a lot of frustration that he will experience, and no happiness will come, no satisfaction will come, no nourishment will come. So, what is if this hand is wise enough? If this hand has a mind of his own, if he's wise enough, this hand will always work for the service of the entire body. If body wants food, hand will ensure that the food is supplied here, and the rest of the body will cooperate. The food will reach the stomach, get turned into the juices, and my hand might get nourished. It's simple example can help us understand our position in comparison with Krishna. Mamaiv ansho jiva loke jiva bhuta sanatana. All the living entities are my separated part and parcel, my separated anshas, not for the time being, but sanatana, forever. It's like sun and sun rays. The sun rays remain sun rays forever, and they have their significance as long as they maintain their attachment with the original sun, from whom the the light and heat is coming out. And the same sun ray also has capacity to give that light and heat, but in very very small quantity. While sun, it can have huge quantity, a sun ray can have very small quantity. So the job of this sun ray is to retain his attachment with the sun, so that it can continue to have the light and heat, which are the features, the primary features of the sun. Similarly, we soul, as separated souls from Krishna, we retain our significance, we retain our importance as long as we are maintaining our connection with Krishna. Bhagavad Gita talks about that central connection, that same connection by during the discussions of different yoga. Yoga is opposite of Viyoga. Viyoga means separation. Yoga means connection. And how Bhagavad Gita talks about Karma Yoga, Dhyana Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga, and Bhakti Yoga. Yoga means to get connected with something. Something is that supreme. They get connected with that supreme through different ways and means. Why different? Because every person will have different tendencies, different inclinations, different likings, different dislikings, and not everyone will be able to accept one form of yoga, that is bhakti yoga, which is the highest of all yogas. But they will accept everything according to their inclinations, according to their guna dharmas. So Krishna has provided something for everyone. So that's how dharma samsthapanarthaya. It's a re-establishing the social order. You need to provide for everyone, no matter where they might be in the hierarchy of progression towards Krishna. Hierarchy is not a social hierarchy, not a political hierarchy, not a education based hierarchy, not a economics based hierarchy, but hierarchy indicates how much are you closer to Krishna, how much closer you are moving to Krishna. With every step that you take, whether you go towards Krishna or you go away from Krishna. So that is our hierarchy. We are interested in that. Ancient science revealed to Arjuna. 4.3, Krishna says, Evayam maya tedya yogah proktah puratanaha bhaktosi me sakha cheti rahasyam yo etad uttamam. That very ancient science of the relationship with the Supreme, the yoga, that's the whole purpose, the relationship, the connection with the Supreme Lord is today told by me to you because you are my devotee as well as my friend and can therefore understand the transcendental mystery of this science. One may wonder why so many expert philosophers, so many learned people, people with so many degrees, why can't they understand the Bhagavad Gita? There are many Sanskrit scholars, Sanskrit professors, MA with Sanskrit, this BA with Sanskrit, and so many expert Sanskrit teachers. They are also not able to understand Bhagavad Gita. Why? Because they are not related with Krishna. Anybody who wish to understand Krishna can understand Krishna by his mercy, by his own sweet will. When we cannot understand Krishna by our own efforts alone. We need Krishna's sanction, Krishna's mercy in order to be able to understand Krishna. And Krishna gives his mercy to those who are closer to him, those who are related with him, with whom he is friendly, those who are his relatives, those whom those who are constantly remembering and serving him in different ways. So to those people, Krishna mercifully gives his sanction, his mercy, and because of that mercy people are able to understand Krishna. So all those scientists, all those philosophers who wrote commentaries on Bhagavad Gita, all those politicians who wrote commentaries on Bhagavad Gita, if they were not if they were not devotees of Krishna, they cannot understand the will of Krishna, what Krishna what Krishna wants Arjuna to ultimately do. The fighting is one aspect of it. The consciousness behind fighting is more critical. When a soldier kills on in the border, on the border, he gets rewarded. Same soldier kills his neighbor in a petty fight, he gets punished. So the consciousness is different. The authority is different. Krishna says, when you act as per my authority, as per my instructions, I take ownership of your actions and the reactions. But when you act on your own accord, you are responsible for your actions, good, bad, ugly, whatever they might be. So, introduction to Bhagavad Gita. He says Krishna tells to Arjuna that he's relating this his supreme secret to him because Arjuna is his devotee and a friend. The purport of this is that Bhagavad Gita is especially meant for the devotees of the Lord. Bhagavad Gita is best understood by a person who has qualities similar to that of Arjuna. That is to say that he must be a devotee in the direct relationship with the Lord. As soon as one becomes a devotee of the Lord, he also has a direct relationship with the Lord. He can have relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead in one of the five different ways: as a passive mode, Shantaras, or as an active mode, Dasyaras, as a friend, Sakhyaras, and as a parent, Vatsalyaras, and as a conjugal lover in the Madhuryaras. Therefore, Bhagavad Gita should be taken up in the spirit of devotion. One should not think that he is equal to Krishna, nor should he think that Krishna is an ordinary personality or even a very great personality. Lord Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead. So, as we are trying to understand the Bhagavad Gita, we should at least theoretically accept Sri Krishna as the supreme personality of Godhead. And with that submissive spirit, we can understand Bhagavad Gita. Unless one reads the Bhagavad Gita in a submissive spirit, it is very difficult to understand Bhagavad Gita because it is a great mystery. So all those wrong interpreters, for them, Bhagavad Gita continued to be a great mystery. They couldn't benefit out of studying Bhagavad Gita, even writing commentaries on Bhagavad Gita. It's like licking honey bottle from the outside. One knows there is honey inside, but one has no capacity to extract it and benefit out of it. So Lord Krishna's supremacy is accepted by all Acharya. We'll study about why should we accept Lord Krishna as the supreme personality of Godhead a little bit more. Srimad Bhagavatam has a verse, Ete cham shakalaha punsaha Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. First chapter, first canto, third chapter, 28th verse. Srila Vasudevi is saying, Arjuna, in the Bhagavad Gita itself, this beautiful verse comes in the 10th chapter, 13th verse, where Arjuna is saying that, oh, Arjuna said, Arjuna Vacha, all the great sages such as Narada, Asti, Devala, and Vyasa confirm this truth about you, and now you yourself are declaring it to me. So, Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vishnu, Lord Ram, and Lord Krishna. Vishnu is Purushottama, Uttama Purusha is Lord Vishnu. Lord Ram is Maryada Purushottam, and Lord Krishna is Purna Purushottam, Purna Purushottam Sri Bhagavan. Quality wise, Lord Brahma has 50 qualities. Lord Shiva has 55 qualities. Lord Vishnu has 60 qualities. But Lord Krishna has 64 qualities. Which are the additional four qualities? These are the ones. Krishna has Leela Madhuri. Krishna has performed various beautiful Leelas for the pleasure of his devotees. Krishna has Bhakta Madhuri. He's always relishes the association of his devotees. Krishna is never seen alone. Krishna is always with his devotees, always with his cows, always with deers, always with peacocks. So he's always with someone. So he is Bhakta Vatsala. Then Venu Madhuri, Krishna was famous in playing his beautiful flute, and so that if you play flute at night, that could attract uh, the all the Vraja girls from their home. That would draw them from homes and bring them to the forest, and then they would complain to Krishna, "Why you are playing this flute? We can't stay back." It becomes practically impossible for us to stay back in home, and because you are playing flute we are forced to come here, so don't do this, like that. Angrily they used to chastise Krishna after coming in the middle of night in the forest. They used to do that. And Rupa Madhuri, extraordinary beauty. Krishna is extraordinarily beautiful. uh, uh, s- ak- Krishna literally means the akarshati. The you can all attractive is what Krishna is all about. So Rupa Madhuri. Conclusion: though Krishna
Prabhuji,
appears
the second one is Prema Madhuri, no? Prabhuji, the fourth ones means I think it's
Rupa
Prema
Madhuri,
Madhuri.
no, no,
Rupa
Venu
Madhuri, Venu
Madhuri,
Madhuri, Leela Madhuri, and Prema Madhuri.
uh, no, Leela, Bhakta Madhuri, Venu Madhuri, and Rupa Madhuri. These are the four extra qualities. Okay. So conclude: Krishna appears in human form. Though Krishna appears in human form, his nature is transcendental. All demigods are Krishna's subordinate. Krishna possesses six opulences in full. Krishna's devotees are always protected. Krishna's birth and activities are transcendental. Lord Krishna possesses four qualities which are absent in Lord Vishnu. Lord Krishna is the source of all incarnation, and Lord Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead. A couple of verses from Gita Mahatmya saying that if one reads Bhagavad Gita very sincerely with all seriousness, then by the grace of the Lord, the reaction of his past misdeeds will not act upon him. Gita Mahatmya 3. One may cleanse himself daily by taking bath in water. But if one takes a bath even once in the sacred Ganges water of Bhagavad Gita, for him the dirt of material life is altogether vanquished. The last one, Gita Mahatmya 7. These are all given in the introduction of Bhagavad Gita, in the Bhagavad Gita book itself. But these are Gita Mahatmya is written by Shankaracharya, who also accepts Krishna as Supreme Personality of Godhead. And he's writing for people of Kali Yuga. In this present day, people are very much eager to have one scripture, one God, one religion, and one occupation. Therefore, Ekam Shastram Devaki Putra Gitam. Let there be one scripture only, one common scripture for the whole world. Bhagavad Gita. Eko Devo Devaki Putra Eva. Let there be one God for the whole world. Sri Krishna. Eko Mantra Stasya Namani. And one hymn, one mantra, one prayer. The chanting of his name. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And ekatasya devasya dasa karmepi ekam tasya devasya seva. And let there be only one work, one occupation only, the service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Back to our favorite place in the middle of two armies. We're going to study first verse of Bhagavad Gita, where and we are going to do something which we have not done earlier. I'll ask every one of you to unmute and chant behind me. I will chant and then you can all repeat. Huh. Why we are doing it is because it is very important to pronounce Sanskrit. These are all Sanskrit Bhagavad Gita are all words spoken by Lord Krishna. And it's very important for us to learn to repeat these words as well. Extremely purifying experience and extremely empowering. Will feel very nice if you could just read that. Uh, Here, the first part is it's given in Devanagari, and in the second section, it's given in English. English is we'll chant very slowly so that you can grasp the whichever is comfortable. You can read those, um, and yeah, you can unmute a little bit later, but just listen for now, and then so you can read this Sanskrit and it will pronounce English. The transliteration that Prabhupada mentioned in the introduction, this is what that means, and let's practice uh, speaking, chanting of these verses of Bhagavad Gita. We'll do this couple of times today, and then we will move on with the discussion of today's topic. That this first verse in rest of the session. So I'll request every one of you to unmute. It can be little messy, but let it be. At your end, you try to read loudly. Bhagavad Dhritarashtra Uvacha
Dhritarashtra उवाच
धृतराष्ट्र उवाच
धर्मक्षेत्रे कुरुक्षेत्रे
धर्मक्षेत्रे कुरुक्षेत्रे
समवेतायुयुत्थे
धर्मक्षेत्रे कुरुक्षेत्रे
समवेतायुयुत्सवः
पाण्डवाश्चैव
भवेताय
किम
युयुत्सव
कुर्वत सञ्जय
मामकः पाण्डवाश्चैव
ममका पाण्डवाश्चैव
किम् अकुर्वत Sanjay.
किम् अकुर्वत सञ्जय
One more time. Please repeat after me. I will chant
मैं
and then
वही
you
बोलने
can
वाली
repeat
थी
after
रिपीट
me.
आफ्टर दिस
Yes.
लेकिन फिर जो चिल्लाए
Yes, don't parallelly try to chant. Repeat after me. Dhritarashtra Uvacha
धृतराष्ट्र उवाच
Dharma Kshetre Kurukshetre
धर्मक्षेत्रे
धर्मक्षेत्रे
कुरुक्षेत्रे
Samaveta Yutsavaha
समवेतायुत्सवः
वेतायुयुत्सवः
Mamakaha Pandavaschaiva
मम
मामगाः
कामश्चैव
पाण्डवाश्चैव
Kim Akurvata Sanjaya.
कुर्वत सञ्जयः
Thank you, everyone. You all can go on mute.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी।
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, you can all hear me? Okay, yeah, fine. So we'll do this repeatedly so that we become more familiar with the verses. Okay. Yeah. So the purport of the first verse that we read, we'll see the translation. The first verse in Bhagavad Gita was spoken by Dhritarashtra. Dhritarashtra said, "O Sanjaya, after my sons and the sons of Pandu assembled in the place of pilgrimage at Kurukshetra, desiring to fight, what did they do?" It's like asking if all if a group of people have assembled desiring to eat lunch, what did they do? Dhritarashtra is in a very difficult condition. As we discussed earlier, he took the entire blame for war on his own head, and after when he couldn't prevent that war, the Shanti Dut discussion failed, and Duryodhan actually tried arresting Krishna. And Krishna showed his Virat Roop, universal form, in the assembly of Hastinapur there. And he still felt he's showing some magic. And he could have probably he could have arrested Krishna and then could have killed Krishna also. You see in the picture that Duryodhana is removing his sword because he doesn't understand the position of Krishna. And so was the case with Dhritarashtra. So they kept getting good advice from all their ministers. Bhishma was in this assembly, Vidur was in assembly, Dronacharya was in that assembly, and they were constantly giving right advice to both of them, both the father son duo. But both were not able to understand that, and because of that, their condition was reduced to this this day, that when Dhritarashtra had to sit in his palace in Hastinapur, called for Sanjay, who got vision from Vyasdev to be able to envision what's happening on the battlefield, and ask him, tell me what's happening there, explain me what's happening there. And that's what Sanjay was doing throughout the rest of the Bhagavad Gita. So Dhritarashtra speaks this verse and doesn't speak later. Sanjay speaks quite often. Sanjay speaks in the second chapter. He starts speaking now as to respond to the inquiry of Dhritarashtra. He's Sanjay Vacha. Sanjay will speak. He speaks later also during the Bhagavad Gita or throughout the Bhagavad Gita. And thus, in the 11th chapter, when Krishna is demonstrating his Virata Rupa or a universal form, Sanjay is describing that Virat Rupa. So there are two descriptions comes. One description by Sanjay and one description by Arjuna, and both are seeing same thing, same. It's like saying the same vision, but still coming up with two different point of views because of their personal nature. Sanjay is also a very pious person, and he's transformed. At the end of Bhagavad Gita, because he also heard Bhagavad Gita and he narrated Bhagavad Gita to Dhritarashtra. So the three people who did the active listening, the Arjuna, the Sanjay, and Dhritarashtra. And we will see from Sanjay's condition towards the end, he's thrilled, he's extremely happy, and he's delighted by hearing what he heard from Lord Krishna. And therefore he speaks the last verse, Yatra Yogeshwara Krishna, Yatra Partha Dhanardhara, that the mystic, master of all mystic is Yogeshwara Krishna. That Krishna is the master of all mystic is Lord Krishna. So he also accepts Krishna as supreme personality of Godhead. But Dhritarashtra, nothing happened to him. He was the same before, fearful father, fearful king, and the same after Bhagavad Gita, because he lacked devotion. He lacked all the qualities that were there in Sanjay and Arjuna. He was not submissive to Krishna. He was not able to accept Krishna as the supreme personality of Godhead. He did not accepted authority of Lord Krishna. Therefore, he was not benefited from the message of Krishna. He could not understand Bhagavad Gita. He considered Bhagavad Gita to be wordplay. you know कुछ इंटेलिजेंट लोग करते हैं द jargon in today's language. He considered Bhagavad Gita to be something like that, a wordplay or jargon, just to pump up, push Arjuna to fight a war and kill all his sons. So he considered Bhagavad Gita to be nothing more than a pep talk that typically you give to encourage somebody to act. So they were not benefited. They were not profited from the whole conversation, which benefited Arjuna, which benefited Sanjaya. And if we choose to read it sincerely, study it sincerely, it can benefit us also. So that's the encouragement. We'll analyze Dhritarashtra's statement. Prabhupada writes in the purport, in the Gita Mahatmya, it is said that one should read Bhagavad Gita very scrutinizingly and with with the help of a person who is a devotee of Sri Krishna, and try to understand it without personally motivated interpretations. Without personally motivated interpretations. Where Prabhupada is repeating this point very often, just to make sure that we don't end up reading wrong Bhagavad Gita and remain like Dhritarashtra. Prabhupada want us to also become like Arjuna, want us to get transformed after study of Bhagavad Gita. And that's how, uh, that's all what all 166 of us should be hoping to do at the end of this journey. Prabhupada writes, the example of clear understanding is there in the Bhagavad Gita itself, in the way of teaching is understood by Arjuna, who heard Bhagavad Gita directly from Lord. If someone is fortunate enough to understand the Bhagavad Gita in that line of disciplic succession without motivated interpretations, then he surpasses all studies of Vedic wisdom and all scriptures of the world. If you have understood Bhagavad Gita in disciplic succession with association of devotees, you have known everything that is to be known. There's no other book you should do. There's no need for you to read any other book or seek wisdom anywhere else. The entire wisdom is within Bhagavad Gita. Everyone is just extracting things from Bhagavad Gita and selling it in the marketplace, saying that this is of their own. Knowledge only exists in Bhagavad Gita. Mark my words, knowledge only exists in Bhagavad Gita. And that's where we should focus now our attention upon. Prabhupada write further, the topics discussed by Dhritarashtra and Sanjaya as described in Mahabharata form the basic principle for this great philosophy. It is understood that this philosophy evolved on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, which is a sacred place of pilgrimage from the immediate immemorial time of the Vedic age. It was spoken by the Lord when he was present personally on this planet for the guidance of mankind. We are all mankind. Please consider this to be for our benefit, spoken by Lord for our benefit, for our guidance. Dhritarashtra became very fearful about the influence of the holy place on the outcome of the battle. He knew very well that this would influence Arjuna and the sons of Pandu favorably because they, by nature, they were all virtuous. By nature, they were all virtuous. So, so Dhritarashtra was very worried that the place can have influence. Now, I'm given below the places or the four places, and feel free to go to chat box and type if you happen to be at one of these places. A for Ayodhya, type K for Kashi or Varanasi, P for Prayagraj, maybe during the Kumbh or anytime before or after that, and V for Vrindavan. Or if you have done four or more than one, type AKPV. Okay, we have few AKPVs. Okay. Not any. You should hope, you should pray to Lord that please take me to one of these beautiful places. Okay. Uh, Getting many answers. Very nice. Um, my second question is that's slightly more tricky. What influence you felt while you were in one of these above places, or in general, when you are there, when you visited those places, what influence you experience? Now we are trying to understand, is there any influence that a place actually has and how it work on us? And I would like few hands to be raised. Few hands to be raised as well. So feel free to raise your hand. We can hear from a couple of you. I want to hear from some of you. That what influence, how you felt the influence. Kanchan Mataji, and then and yeah, Kanchan Mataji, and then second hand. What's the name?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji,
Yes,
Dandavat
Mataji.
Pranam.
Right. Yes.
Yeah, every place wherever we visit, they have an influence. Like when we visit Vrindavan, we will often hear Radhe Radhe, everybody greeting and welcoming each other with the terms Radhe Radhe, Jai Shri Krishna. And when we visit ISKCON also, there is Hare Krishna. So every place has their own vibe, and definitely it influences us. In the cities, we might get up late, but when we reach those cities or those places, we are often bound to wake up early, visit the temple, you know, be in a pious atmosphere, and everywhere we go, it affects.
Okay. So it
Similarly,
affected you
uh,
in a
similarly
way
when we
of,
visit
yeah, go ahead.
Ayodhya,
Sorry.
Similarly, when we visit Ayodhya, we often get to hear Jai Shri Ram and all those things, and the vibe is completely different, and we become a part of that over a period of time.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, Hare Krishna.
Subhash Prabhuji, Subhash Sharma. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare
Actually, when we go to these places, because I used to go when I was studying every month to this ferry there in Vrindavan, no? Giriraj ferry and all that. So I forget totally, and our energy is so high that when we are traveling, when we are walking, we forget everything and we say Hare Krishna, and all those. And the same way when we go to Ayodhya or Kashi. Kashi is a surreal experience. We feel when we are seeing different ghats like Manikarn and all that. No, and so there we feel yes, this life is not only for our enjoyment and all that. It is entirely different, and one day we will also go like this. So that purpose of life, when we are living here, we should do love, serve, give in such a way. Then we depart, we are peaceful, and we ultimately do whatever is required, and we devotee of God, Godhead, and we do everything with the sense of service.
Okay.
So
Thank you so
yes,
much.
sir. In Prayagraj also with my wife, actually we had a similar experience during this Mahakumbh. Thank
Okay.
you so much.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Bhagat Prabhuji, last comment.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Am I audible?
Yes, Prabhuji, you're audible. Dandavat Pranam.
So, only once in my life I've visited Vrindavan, but the purity is absolutely amazing. And there is even scriptural evidence of this in the Srimad Bhagavatam, 4th canto, 25th chapter, verses 7 and 8, when Narad Muni says that the dust of Vrindavan is as good as Lord Krishna himself, Vrindavan Raj. So Yamraj can never disturb a person who even visits Vrindavan once. And somebody who has no connection with spirituality, who's an atheist, also acquires spiritual qualities by visiting Vrindavan. So that is my answer, Prabhuji. Thank you.
So all of us agree that it has influence. The moment it's could be it can be said that okay, it could be due to the because of the environment. Mataji mentioned that everybody in Vrindavan, all the shops are named after Krishna. Everywhere there is Krishna temple. Every 100 meters you go in one direction, any direction, you will find Krishna temple or some flag you will see for temple. Everyone fight also by saying Radhe Radhe or Hari Hari. So people talk Krishna. People so there it's difficult to forget Krishna. When you're in Vrindavan, if you happen to be in Vrindavan, it's very difficult to forget Krishna. It's very difficult to remember your office. It's very difficult to even many people come on yatra with us to Vrindavan and they forget calling their parents. They forget calling their relatives who they and if you are in Mumbai, if you happen to be living in a city, you're always worried, you're always fearful, you're always concerned, and you're always in anxiety. And if you go to these dhams, you live without anxiety. Ayodhya, the same experience. You will not mind standing in the queue for 3 hours, 4 hours just to get a glimpse of Ramlala. Prayagraj, a lot of people visited. So many people visited during Kumbh, and they all share the same experience. That when, as long as you are there, you are completely. It's like as if you are in a different world. Uh, and when the moment you come back, that vibes, all of those remain for some time, but eventually, once you are back in Mumbai or Delhi or wherever you belong to, that positive effect start fading slowly or fast for many of us it happens much faster, and then you get into the grind, daily grind, and then if you are lazy, you start waking up late. But when you were in Vrindavan, you were waking up at 3:30 to attend Mangalarti at 4:30 a.m. And all those good things that that influence you got. The moment you are back at your native place or your place of your domicile, they start fading away eventually, and you get into the grind of your old ways of doing things. So that's why we should often visit these places of pilgrimage as much as possible. Now Dhritarashtra is worried. He's feeling, now you all are devotees. You all are even as Bhagat Prabhuji mentioned that even the atheists can acquire devotion if they happen to go to Vrindavan. They will see so much. People love Krishna so much that even he will start getting that feeling of love for affection for Krishna if he stays sufficiently in Vrindavan. So what to speak of devotees? All of you are devotees. So for you, it's natural that you feel very happy, free from anxiety when you visit a dham. But if an atheist, but if you are not a devotee, but if you happen to visit dham, what influence it will have on them? If you're used to drink alcohol, if you're used to smoke, if you used to uh, do meat eating, gambling, you have all colorful life, you watch movies, want to watch all colorful movies, um, and if you happen to have those kind of habits, and if you end up going to Vrindavan for 10 days, what influence will it have on you? Now the question is flipped a little bit. I'm saying if you happen to be not a devotee, like all of you are devotees, but just step inside shoes of someone else, step into somebody else's shoes who is not a devotee. If that person happens to be in Vrindavan for 10 days, what influence it will have on them? Yes, Subhash Prabhuji.
Sir, basically, in my view, I have practical experience. When some of them who are not believing also, when they are accompanying and when we are discussing that thing, so they get open to all this aspect. and they also have a lot of transformation from inside, sir.
Yeah.
That is my experience. And there are a few initially who were negative, but when we start discussing and over a period of time, they forget that negativity and they start actually listening and they start accepting also. And ultimately, they realize also. Many of them transformed also. I will give example even from other faith, like even from the Islam. There are a few friends, initially they were opposed, but now a lot of good this thing nature you can experience in their this thing, and they are open to listening all this
Very nice.
despite the ideological limitations
Differences.
they have.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank you,
Thank you so
Pradeep.
much. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Soji.
Hare Krishna.
Yes, Kanchan ji and Vikas ji.
Yeah, Hare Krishna Babuji. I had this experience when the person who was little bit of devotee, like they used to read the scriptures as the community follows, but then they had that triggered what all those things are doing. All those people are dancing like mad. Why are they shouting? It is so much of crowdy place. Why? What is the need to visit? Everywhere is Krishna. We can find him at home only. What's the need of visiting such places? So I had this experience with many people around me. So
Okay. So they get choked. I mean, they are not able to do their things. Aren't they?
yeah, yeah.
That's their primary complaint. Yes. Vaishnavi and then Vikas ji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, when I was not connected to ISKCON earlier, when I used to visit holy places with my family, I was not much interested. It was just a formality for me uh, for staying in line for many hours and taking darshan. It was not great for me earlier. So it was just a kind of formality.
Okay. So they do it as a formality. Then, and when you do it as a formality, you want to get out as fast as you can. खत्म कर दो जो
Yes,
करना है
Prabhuji.
जहाँ फटाफट खत्म कर दो मंत्रा भी हम चैंट कर रहे हैं जल्दी जल्दी बोलो शॉर्टकट हो तो शॉर्टकट में करो कुछ so that we can go back get out of this. Yes, Vikas ji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. So, His Grace Sitaram Prabhuji was once mentioning, and I connected it with my example that when in earlier days, like as you mentioned, that what happens after going to holy places like Vrindavan and all dhams, then there is a transformation that takes place. Otherwise, our consciousness, as Prabhuji was mentioning, that we go and we try to touch as many temples as possible, and we are not even bothered about that what is there, but ultimately the vibes, the vibrations that are there in that spiritual atmosphere, that those are as such that they leave some kind of dent on our consciousness, and then because of that we become inclined to go once more and once more, and then when it becomes in association with devotees, then it becomes the complete transformation of the consciousness. Hare Krishna Guruji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. So, thank you so much, everyone, for sharing your thoughts here and got a lot of answers on the chat box also. So let's move forward. Yeah, we'll come that we'll move forward, Proji. I have one more question there we can try and answer. So, so Dhritarashtra is actually worried. Dhritarashtra is worried that when he's worried, he's saying that it will have a positive influence on Arjuna and Pandavas in basically sons of Pandu. Oh, why it's not going back? It will. He's saying it will have positive, favorable. It will have favorable effect. A place of religion, a place of a dham like Kurukshetra, uh, where some pastimes have happened, where Lord resides and he's being worshipped by his wonderful devotees. Now, such places actually have lot of favorable, lot of positive vibes, and a devotee become very joyful, whereby by just by being in that place. A non-devotee, initially, at least the opposite effect can happen. When Dhritarashtra is worried that it will act favorably to Pandavas, he's also implying that it will act unfavorably to his sons. And typically, because if we say, uh, people, all kind of people come to Dham, but at times, because of their previous association and previous habits are such, those developed, the deep rooted habits have their own, they have their, it has their own impact. And even if they see everything nice, they feel choked sometimes. At least initially, they will feel choked, and they will want to get out as fast as they can. Even if forcibly you can bring somebody into the dham, at the first available opportunity, they want to run away from dham. Why? Because their old ways of living will, those inclinations will keep coming from within. Daru pite hai. Now, Vrindavan, you'll not get that kind of a place. It's not a place where you will be expected to, you can be expected to do this. Um, smoke karte hai, this, that, do that. And so the whole environment is surcharged with so much spirituality that you will not want to do that also. At one hand, your good mind tells you don't do it. See so much positivity, see more, so much purity everywhere, so much nice feeling that you're having, and the other mind will telling, but you're not smoked for last 6 hours. You're not smoked in last 12 hours. Go get some drink somewhere. Let's go eat some meat somewhere. Maybe travel 50 kilometers out, eat something and then come back. Because if it is not available here in the dham, what you will do? You will have to go out. So those inclinations will also come from within. So while this person will always be anxious even in the dham, because he's facing a conflict inside him. He's facing a conflict inside him. The dham is forcing him to do good things, while his old habits is there, they will be forcing him to do wrong things, and he will be caught, the soul, this soul will be caught in that conflict. At times he will be he will be defeated by his old habitual desires that are popping up, and he may actually go out and come back to the dham by doing something wrong. But most of the times, if he's in association of devotees, his goodness will overpower over the evil, and he will be, ठीक है आज 10 दिन है तो 10 दिन कुछ नहीं करते हैं, 10 दिन तो अच्छा रहते हैं, 10 दिन तो let me be sincere, let me try to learn what they are trying to teach, let me try to live like what these people are doing, and hopefully it will benefit me. And what so sometimes this goodness will overpower this evil, and this person will cooperate with the dham, and then he will experience that, I felt very liberated in true sense. I felt very happy. I felt very peaceful from within. um, Even though there was a loud kirtan going on, and I was dancing, I was singing, and I was eating, feasting prasad. Actually, I was very peaceful from within. I felt very happy. Genuinely, I felt very, very happy. I don't often feel that while I'm living in my home, wherever the city, while working, while doing whatever I'm busy doing otherwise. For these 5 days, for these 10 days, as if I have traveled time and gone to some other planet. That kind of a feeling people get. So Dhritarashtra's worry was genuine, and he is worried that it will have a negative influence on his sons. So he's obviously worried about his sons. So both Pandavas and sons of Dhritarashtra belong to the same family, but Dhritarashtra's mind is disclosed herein. He deliberately claimed only his sons to be Kurus, and he separated sons of Pandus from the family heritage. One can thus understand the specific position of Dhritarashtra in this relationship with his nephews, sons of Pandu. Question is, what is wrong in distinguishing between his children and those of his brothers? Is this not natural, or is this what is? There's one point, from the spirituality point of view. This there is a issue here. What could it be? Yes, Subhash Sharma Project.
So basically, attachment, in my view, Prabhuji, attachment is the reason, and attachment leads to selfishness and utter selfishness. So
Okay.
if somebody is able to detach to a certain extent, involve but detach then, and understand from the factual point of view, then I think it becomes easier. to understand, though we may favor our own person, but we will understand that person is wrong just because of relation I am favoring, not
Okay.
because of my nature of being so much attached to the person.
Okay.
So
So
that is my
attachment
experience.
is one is a one problem.
Prabhuji, I
Yeah.
just want to add into that.
We'll move
Attachment
to the
actually.
other person. So
Yeah,
sorry,
okay,
because
fine.
we're nearing towards 1 o'clock. So just want to take 2, 3 views and then move on. Yes, Sam and then Jagdish and then Kanchan Madhari.
प्रणाम प्रभु जी।
Hare Krishna.
हरे कृष्णा। मेरा सवाल ये था, सो wherever we go we talk about salvation and to break this life birth cycle. However, uh, I as a person, I'm very I love this life and would probably like to come again and again. However, I'm also very much inclined and I want to find the purpose. What is the purpose of my life and how I can serve? But both the things go are mostly contradictory at each and every step in each and every place. Even you go to Kashi, where they talk about you'll get salvation, you'll be freed of life and birth cycle, and all those things. Everywhere they talk about, and whenever God comes into the picture, it's like salvation is the biggest objective and motive. So, I mean, are these contradictory? So, if someone wants to find the purpose and God, he'll have to aim for salvation, or can
So
it
yeah.
coexist?
So I'll answer this right away. It's an important question. Why should we worry about salvation if we find purpose in our life? So for example, Sachin Tendulkar, his purpose is in his life is to play cricket. He's like considered to be god of cricket. And so all his life he has done probably he's only played cricket from the early age whenever he started, and now also he's associated with cricket. So purpose is to serve his in the cricket in the various capacities. Some people will have social service, liking for social service. Some, so they will say my purpose of my life is to serve the uh, do some kind of a social service, teach children, distribute this, distribute that, feed people, provide them with clothing, or whatever. In various ways the social service can be one purpose of somebody's life. Somebody's life purpose can be very simple, to live and let live. I somebody can say my purpose of my life is to take care of my family. Now if you see, as we progress from childhood to youth to old age and to very old age, the purpose is different. Last time we one of our session we study a dial. In the at the beginning of our life we are barely able to walk, and then we learn toilet manners and not to wet our pants. That becomes our purpose. And as we progress our purpose becomes different, and towards the end again the same become my purpose. The I have to I start losing all my friends. I don't have friends. Then I worry about wearing adult diapers because now I'm fearful I may wet my trousers anytime. And again, towards the end, I'm barely walking. I'm barely able to walk. So from how we started, we actually finished like that. This 180 degree of a different stage of our life, we actually have had multiple different purposes. Why we go through this? Why we why we are born and when we are given so much, why are we forced to grow old? We fall sick and we die. Is in this perfect, otherwise perfect looking world, is not death not the biggest spoiler? Why it is given at all? Why are we growing old at all? If can we not live in youth forever so that we can perpetually enjoy this world? So there is a learning in this 180-degree life curve. It's meant to give us learning. The life is temporary. The world is temporary. What you have is temporary. But in the course of this journey, you need to attain a purpose. That purpose can give you permanent destination. So it is not just to play cricket. You can play cricket to earn your living. Somebody can become an engineer and earn his living. Somebody can become doctor to earn his living. That will help you survive during your lifespan. What you do, and if you do well, you become a little bit famous. That's fine. However, that is not the goal of one's life. You will not end the cycle of in. So we have what is the breakthrough knowledge in this is this is not your first life. This is not going to be your last life. And you have capacity to go up and down in the in the different species of life also according to your karma. So whatever activity you perform in the course of your life, during the course of your life, you are accountable for that. And as you said, you will not mind coming back again, but again growing old and dying and again going coming through the womb of another mother with another set of parents, another siblings, another caste, another community, and it could be better or uglier than what it is right now. It is all unknown as of now. Only thing that is certain is that you will definitely take birth again, but it is uncertain, unknown, and today, right now, where you will go. Will you go higher or will you go lower? Which karma are you paying for right now? Which karmas that you are suffering or enjoying? Which lifetime's karmas that you are burning right now? Because this unknown factor, all the all the religions of this world will actually tell you this, that this is not a permanent place. You don't, in Bible it is said that you don't build homes on bridges. Why? Because this is like a bridge. This is going to take us to the place where we originally came from. All of us has a longing to have eternal loving life. In this world nothing is eternal. So if you happen to be a boy living in the jungles of Africa who has never seen a city, never seen another human being, all live naked, they kill animal and eat. If that boy asks, go to his mother and say, Mama, I want pizza, nothing in the nearest vicinity like pizza. Pizza could be, mother may think it's name of another animal that he wants to kill and eat. But so the pizza comes because this boy has in his previous life must have been born in America and has eaten pizza there. Now he's having last life memories and he's asking for pizza. But unless we have some experience of eternity somewhere, we can't search for eternity in this place. And we all have that experience in the spiritual world. And now we are searching for that which is not available here. And that's what Krishna comes and give this knowledge, this wisdom of Bhagavad Gita, that don't, you may be happy right now, but as you will grow old, you will also face death. All that is going to be painful. And after dying, taking birth is also painful. Hanging upside down in the womb of a mother is painful. Bhagavatam says you will be reminded of hundreds of your past lifetimes during that 9-month period, where everybody is happy that a baby is going to arrive. Baby is actually suffering. The the upside down position is not very comfortable. The the worms in the urine are also not very comfortable. They beat the tender body of the child. And finally, after 9 months, the child, when it comes out, he find himself in the middle of completely unknown territory. Your last life parents have gone. The new set of parents are there, and they could be speaking different language. They could be speaking. They could be in different city, different economic condition. Wherever you might land, where you might land, you will not know, and you will only know when you will open your eyes and figure it out. Whether you will become male or female, you don't know. Whether you will become cat or dog, you don't know. So it's a risky proposition to do. So best thing is to the whole purpose of giving Bhagavad Gita is not to create a war. Krishna could have killed everyone without war also, but to give this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita so that living entities, especially human beings, can at least develop a desire to go back to Krishna, where the life can be eternal, loving, and happy. So that way, Sam, we understand that we can be, we can find a purpose, and we can also study Bhagavad Gita, and both can go hand in hand. It's not difficult. So we'll not go to the others. Will Madhu, last comment from you, if you have any.
Namaste, Guruji. I just had a doubt. Like Pandavas knew everything, no? Like they went under guidance of Krishna only. But then I heard why they went to hell, and Kauravas went to heaven. I didn't understand why was that.
Okay, so we can take this question later, but let's go through
Okay.
the rest of the this thing. Now, Dhritarashtra, we'll discuss this verse first, and then we'll answer that, take that question. Okay, so Dhritarashtra want his son to win, even though they were wrong. This is a tendency between. So, what will Bhagavad Gita teach us? Bhagavad Gita will teach us what is right and wrong, at least. Okay, it is said, when you look at life through the eyes of Shastra, it's called Shastra Chakshu. And Bhagavad Gita will speak philosophy in such a way, using which we should be able to decide what is right and what is wrong. Non-devotees, those who have not studied Bhagavad Gita, obviously don't have this capacity. So their vision is tainted with attachment, as Prabhuji was mentioning, Subhash Prabhuji was mentioning some time back. So their vision is tainted by selfishness. It's not Shastra Chakshu anymore. But knowledge from scripture, when we become fixed in this knowledge, when we learn knowledge from Bhagavad Gita and we practice some sadhana, practice chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra on a regular basis, uh, combination of these two, hearing and chanting, creates a strong foundation. And uh, this will help us see things clearly as they are, and give us capacity or courage to choose right over wrong. It's not, sometimes it's visible what is right and what is wrong, but we end up still choosing wrong because of our attachment, because of our inability to make right choices, because of our fear that if I do right, I will be in trouble, or the right is not always easy thing to do. What is right may not always be the most easy thing to do. So we want to do easy things, so do wrong. So different reasons for which we are unable to choose right over wrong. So we need courage and capacity to choose as well. It's not sufficient sometimes to just to know what is right and what is wrong. It can be very theoretical. I may know, everybody knows that smoking is injurious to your health and it's written on the box, but everybody go and smoke. Whoever smokes obviously know this fact, but so knowing always doesn't help. We need conviction, we need courage, we need capacity to choose right over wrong. Dhritarashtra does not have it. So Dhritarashtra is fearful. Non-devotees are always fearful. Because if you're not a devotee, we heard about this during the discussion, that how we feel fearless in dham, how we feel free from anxiety while in dham, how we will even sometimes forget to call our relatives while we are in dham. We get Krishnaized. Krishna says, Prabhupada says in Bhagavad Gita, one of his lecture, that you get Krishnaized. You get completely taken over by Krishna, and you become extremely happy during that time. So, but a non-devotee does not have that facility. This is not available to them. They always live in fear and anxiety. So that's what we see in the case of Dhritarashtra. What's a learning for us? Become a devotee of Krishna, become fearless, become free from anxiety, free from worry. Study Bhagavad Gita, chant Hare Krishna, eat prasad, and be in touch with devotees, keep talking to devotees, and you will be free from all anxiety, and you will be happy. Dehatma Buddhi is what is visible here. Dhritarashtra is saying mine, and Pandus, this is mine and this is yours, is a buddhi that is associated, seeing things in connection with body, seeing things in connection with our body, which is so and considering those two, that is to be true and real, seeing things in everything in connection with my body and considering those things to be real things. It is like seeing a dream at night, seeing that we own a big palace and believing it to be true, and when we wake up, start searching for that palace. That's foolish. So similarly, this body is temporary, and everything associated with this body is also temporary. It is not untrue, it is temporary. The pain we get is true, but it is temporary. The body, the whole body itself is temporary. So the education which is associated with this body is also going to be temporary. When we go to our next body, we start from playgroup, we start from learning ABCD, or whichever caste and community we will be born, we will start learning that language. The wealth associated with this body is also temporary. You could be a millionaire and billionaire in this lifetime. Next year, next birth, you start with a zero. You might be born in the house of a poor man and start with a zero bank balance. So everything is connection. All your parents, your siblings, your spouses, your children, your friends, your neighbors, your girlfriends, your boyfriends, everything, all of those are associated with this current body itself. And by the end of this body, those will be gone. And by the end of their bodies, they will not remember your relationship as well. So everything is temporary. But if I take it seriously, I will consider it to be real. And that is called Dehatma Buddhi. Deha, Atma Buddhi in the Deha. I am considering everything related with me as mine. Dhritarashtra is demonstrating his illusion by referring to his sons and sons of Pandus separately. So we come toward the end of our session. We've discussed first verse of Bhagavad Gita. We've seen through uh, we've gone through uh, the setting the scene, the preface, the introduction, and we touch upon first verse of Bhagavad Gita. We will continue from next Sunday onwards, the rest of the chapter 1 of Bhagavad Gita, and we will be similarly chanting some verses, studying some purports, translations, and purports by Srila Prabhupada. To summarize today's session, not all Bhagavad Gitas available in bookshop are authentic. We may have some Sanskrit verses, but interpretations might not be authentic. So it's important to understand what is true Bhagavad Gita, and the effect and the cause and effect is mentioned. The effect of Bhagavad Gita, studying Bhagavad Gita, is demonstrated by Arjuna in Bhagavad Gita itself. Towards the end of Bhagavad Gita, in the 72nd verse of 18 chapters, 72 verse, Arjuna says, Nashto moha smrutir labdva tvat prasadan maya achyuta stitosmi gata sandeha karishye vachanam tava. This is a devotional verse in response to a devotional appeal made by Krishna in 18.66, where Krishna says that Sarva Dharman Parityajya Mam Ekam Sharanam Vraja Aham Tvam Sarva Papebhyo Mokshayashyami Ma Shucha. Arjuna, give up all kind of religion, just give up everything and just surrender to me. Do what I say, and I will free you up from all kind of sinful reactions, because do not fear. Very assuring, loving message Krishna gives, and Arjuna responds to his love, saying that I will do karishye vachanam tava. Whatever you will tell me to do, I will do. If it means fighting a war, I will fight a war. If it means killing my great great grandparent father, I'll do that. If it means killing my acharya, I'll do that. Killing my brothers, I will do that. I will do that as a service to you. So Arjuna's response is also devotional. It's not just fighting war. Uh, it's not just about killing people. It is doing that with a service attitude for Krishna. I'm doing it for you, a soldier fighting for country on the direction of the king. Similarly, Arjuna is now prepared to fight in the direction of Lord Krishna. And therefore, Krishna says, Mahashucha, do not fear. He should not have any fear now. So, Srila Prabhupada presented that Bhagavad Gita in a as it is way, as told by Krishna and as understood by Arjuna. So, if we study this Bhagavad Gita as it is, we should also develop an attitude that of Arjuna, where we will be prepared to do everything for Krishna, and we will become fearless because Krishna assures us fearlessness if we choose to follow the instructions of Bhagavad Gita. Opposite is Dhritarashtra. He's having multiple problems. He's physically blind, spiritually blind as well, and he cannot see what is right and what is wrong. Because he's a non-devotee, he's always fearful. Fear of losing his sons, fear of losing his kingdom, his wealth, his position, his fame. So this is a normal state of mind for a non-devotee. So what should we become? We become a devotee of Krishna. Opposite of this is for the normal state for a devotee. A devotee will be fearless. A devotee will be free from all kind of anxiety. A devotee will be peaceful. A devotee will always be happy. Now, devotee may always not be opulent. Devotee Sudama was also a devotee, and Yudhishthir Maharaj was also a devotee. Sudama was a poor king, poor person, and but he was happy because he was always remembering Krishna. Yudhishthir Maharaj was king, living in palace, have army, had a lot of wealth, but he was also happy because he was remembering Krishna, not because he had a palace, not because he had four other brothers who are ready to protect him, not because he had a beautiful wife in Draupadi, not because he was famous as Dharmaraj. None of those things were giving him happiness. He was happy because he was a devotee of Lord Krishna. So if we become devotee of Krishna, we will be fearless, we will be free from anxiety, we will be happy, we will be peaceful. So it's a profitable decision for us to become devotee of Krishna. Facility for becoming devotee of Krishna is by attending Sunday classes every Sunday. That's one thing. And additionally, on a daily basis, attending japa session in the morning and attending uh, reading Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita reading sessions in the evening. We'll start circulating these links for these sessions in all the groups so that all of you can take benefit of the same. So, question answer. We'll take one question from Madhu and then others can think about questions, if any, and we can. So, the question Madhu asks is why Pandavas had to go to hell and while Duryodhana apparently went to heaven. Ultimately, heaven and hell both are temporary. Both are temporary. Krishna says in 8th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Abrahma bhuvanar lokar punaravartino arjuna mam apetyetu konteya punarjanmana vidyate. It's not a, it's not about where they went after giving up their body, but what became their permanent place. That was more important. They ultimately went back home to Krishna. They went back to Krishna, and their journey, they could have taken them to a couple of other places. That's those are not very important points. Ultimately they went back to Krishna, uh, and Duryodhana obviously couldn't go back to Krishna. So our interest is in going back to Krishna, and how we attain that is by study of Bhagavad Gita. Yes, Subhash Prabhuji and then Prasanna. Other questions?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes.
Prabhuji, I just wanted to take your guidance, like how to percolate this in the youth of today in a very practical and understandable way, whereby rather than chasing them, they get attracted to us and to our philosophy of all this, and so that they are benefited, they become devotee. So whatever they do in life, they are happy and they are successful also. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna,
Hare
Prabhuji.
Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji. So, so different ways, in which youth can be attracted towards philosophy of Bhagavad Gita. One is this, in this its group itself, more than 100, we have more than 100, 150, 160, 170 participants, and many of them are actually youth. And a lot of them got this information through social media, where they spend a lot of their time. And through that, see, ultimately they need to see the utility, and the 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 fearlessness, the peacefulness, mind control. These are big things. Nobody has them. And by simply following, learning Bhagavad Gita and simply following uh, the instructions of japa, simply by doing Hare Krishna Mahamantra Nam Japa, if you can attain that without paying a single rupee to anybody, also, people have to be people have to be told that um, this is possible. It is possible to become happy in whichever state they can be. And once they get convinced about the fact that, and today they are directing their energies in search of happiness to other things, they can come to Bhagavad Gita also. And if they practice it sufficiently, actually they will genuinely become happy, and they need not go back to their old ways of doing things. So definitely a lot of youth today is attracted towards spirituality. All we need to do is to give them the authentic message, and show by personal practice how it can be done. And that is how, hopefully they will be inspired by Lord Krishna to take up to the spirituality. Thank you so much for that. Prasanna Prabhuji.
Namaskaram, Prabhuji, namaskaram.
Yes, ma'am.
Namaskar.
Hare Krishna.
Can you hear me? Hare
I
Krishna.
can hear you. Yes, yes.
Prabhuji, there are so many questions after your discourse coming to my mind at the same time. I hope I can put everything concisely within the limited time. So I have so many confusions. You said everything is temporary, our life is temporary. Right now, whatever role we are playing is temporary. But there is something called prarabdha, what people say. And uh, one instance, one of my superior told me in a, I felt really hurt at that point of time. So he said somebody is born to a scientist. So she and I'm a daughter of somebody who is, a laborer. So he said very rudely that that is her prarabdha and that this is your prarabdha, and and you are eventually trying to justify your role as a daughter, as a wife, as a mother, and you're trying to do all the duties and life's responsibilities, and and at the same time you are exposed to spirituality and God and devotion, and there is absolutely no time, and as the age progresses you don't have energy because you are so caught up with responsibilities and you're tired at the end of the day. So is it my karma that which is, sometimes I feel that why can't we start again, why can't I start by ending this life, but again, what you rightly pointed out, the next life may not be, maybe worse than this, who knows. So I don't know. And
Yeah.
when you are traveling in the spiritual life, and you are actually by saying God's name, and you are reducing your karma, but actually maybe it is a test or something. There are a lot of bad things and keeps happening to you, and
sometimes more than doing good, you are ending up doing, you know, probably sin, which you are not planned, not even in dreams. So how can I come out of all these things? How can I do all the responsibilities what the life is bestowed upon me, and try to and still be in the spiritual path or path of devotion?
Thank you
Hare
so much,
Krishna.
Mataji. Hare Krishna. Thank you for nicely putting this question. We'll just what you can do is, Mataji, you can also fill the form, the Google form which Vikas Soji is circulating. And what we can do, we can have an offline talk also, just to elaborately discuss this. But I'll very briefly I will give the answer to the question, and we can move to some other questions if somebody might have. Uh, in general, taking up spirituality does not imply giving up material responsibility. It doesn't, it's not equal to that. Arjuna actually asked this question in the third chapter and in the fifth chapter again, that then do you really want me to fight, or should I go to jungle? And Krishna says, Where is the question of going to jungle? I want you to fight the battle. Do it as a service to me." Uh, Consciousness, which is the motivation behind action, has to be changed, not the action per se. Prarabdha exists. Prarabdha doesn't decide our action. Prarabdha only decides the result of our action. All of us have free will to do things, and free will to do things in the way they are most beneficial to us. We can we can take care of our family members, thinking them and knowing them now after studying Bhagavad Gita. You will know that they are all separated part and parcels of Krishna. They are in your possession, your care for on a temporary basis, but not permanent. If they happen to be your children, not permanently they are going to be your children. Not in previous life also they were your children. Not in next life they are going to be your children. But you're, for the time being, for some time in this lifetime, they have been given. They have been in your. They are given your custody. They are, they are in your custody. So you should take care of them, knowing they also are children of Krishna. So do your best as a parent, and then their prarabdha will ultimately direct them to the to the course wherever they are supposed to be driven. We have to do our duty in every situation. This is what Bhagavad Gita will repeatedly call out for. Do your duty. Find out in every situation what is your duty and do it. As long as in duty also there is a adhyatmic duty. There is a duty towards Krishna. Every soul should become a devotee of Krishna, and the primary duty is performing bhakti yoga through nama sankirtan and study of scriptures. So Hare Krishna Mahamantra chanting can be done by everyone and anyone in practically all the situations. Prabhupada, so one of his disciples fell sick. Prabhupada wrote him a letter. Now you have fallen sick. You've been advised bed rest for so and so days. Very good. No disturbance. Please chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra without any disturbance. You will have no other activity to be done now. So you cannot say that I have to do this, I have to do that, go here, go there. No, you cannot go anywhere for next 1 month, 2 months, whatever it is. So utilize this time nicely for chanting. So similarly, whatever duties we are doing, we have to do it with. It's not about giving up those duties. It's doing those duties with right consciousness. That is the key. And if you can do that, and parallelly, if you can perform devotional activities, uh, we can attain success in this lifetime. Prabhupada assures this, Mahaprabhu assures this, that you can go back to Godhead in one lifetime if you follow the instructions of Bhagavad Gita, if you follow the instructions of your Guru, Srila Prabhupada and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. With their mercy, we will go. On our own, we may not be able to go. So you can fill the form, we can have a separate discussion, and we'll be happy to discuss this in more elaborate manner. But in general, I tried giving the answer. Hopefully that is helpful. Sam, I see one hand raised, and then Vikas Prabhuji.
Yeah, Prabhuji. We were just talking about sin and good karma. So, how is the definition of how one decides or defines a good karma? Because a butcher killing or slaughtering animals for his livelihood, a lion making a killing for his life. So, I mean, both are doing good according to their own, need. But maybe for a person who is vegetarian, this may seems to be a sin.
Yeah, very nice question, Prabhuji. Uh, we have to act on our authority. We have to act according to our authority, and our authority comes basic. For example, a judge writes a statement that so and so person should be hanged until death. Okay, can I write a sentence that my neighbor should be hanged till death? I have no authority. But when judge writes, it is executed, and that person actually loses a life. He's a perfectly healthy person. He has no diseases. He could have probably lived for another maybe whatever 30, 40 years. But judge writes on a white paper and stamps and signs it, that person next day taken and hang until death, and that it actually loses his life. Why is judge not punished and I am punished when I go and kill a person? Judge act on the basis of authority, and I am acting on my own whimsical motives. So when I have no authority, I cannot kill. A lion killing and a butcher killing. Now, the judge will not personally go and kill. Judge will probably order and somebody will execute. Now that person is as good as a butcher. Is that person sinful? He's doing his job. He's also drawing authority from judge to kill. Therefore, he is killing. He cannot kill his friends and neighbors because they have fight. So everyone, as long as you act under authority, you are saved. But if you are acting without authority, when you are killing animals to satisfy the taste buds of taste, basically taste buds of your tongue, you are not acting under any authority. You have no authority to kill. So, so that action is sinful because you're violating your authority. You know, it's law. When you break law, you're you're punished. So, in the same way, when you break law, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, third chapter, 14th verse, that annad bhavati bhutani parjanyat anna sambhava. If living beings are created, Krishna has also created food for each living entity. And for human beings, he's saying they should eat that which grows by parjanya. Parjanya means rain. So whatever grows on Parjanya is grains, the crop and the fruits and the vegetables, and that is what humans are meant to eat, are supposed to eat. So if you kill without authority, then certainly you will incur sin. But definitions are not so simple. Even killing plants can also be sinful. It could be less sinful than killing an animal because basis the emotions that one experience at the time of killing. However, still plant killing is can also be sinful. So eating palak paneer can also be sinful. So Krishna says, you human beings has capacity to offer as a sacrifice, offer bhoga as a sacrifice to me, and I will remove sin from that food. Even if it is a vegetarian food, uh, when you offer that to me, I remove sinful reactions from that food, and that food becomes prasad. This is science. Krishna can remove. Krishna, if Krishna cannot remove sin, Krishna says this in Bhagavad Gita, 13th verse of 3rd chapter, that I remove sin, and then that food become prasad. Yajna shishta asina santo. Yajna shishta sina santo. So that food to become prasad has to be offered to Krishna. If not physically, at least in our mind, we should be offering food to Krishna. Krishna, Hare Krishna. We should chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra if nothing else is possible. And that food, Krishna, and that is acceptable mode of worship. Krishna can be worshipped in his mind, in our mind. Just like how one can worship a deity, one can actually worship a picture. We see behind, Krishna Balaram from Vrindavan, ISKCON, and Jagannath Baladev Subhadra in personally present behind us. But Krishna can also be worshipped in mind, and in his mind he can accept our offering, and he can make that food sinful. So the as we progress in the study of Bhagavad Gita, there will be a lot of this discussion that will be happening on this topic, the 16th chapter, the 17th chapter. A lot of those discussions will happen, and we will save some of it for those days. But I'll thank you, Sam Prabhuji, for asking wonderful questions. I'll be happy if you continue attending all the sessions as we progress through the discussions of Bhagavad Gita. Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
I have yes, Prabhuji. I think two hands raised. Subhash Prabhuji and Vikas Prabhuji. Vikas Prabhuji, yes, sorry.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. There was no question, but as Sam Prabhuji was asking before, and then Mataji actually gave her practical realization. Like, this is the inner kind of realization that I could feel, that how much problem there may be in our life. So that gives us the motive, as you were speaking in between, that how to get out of this cycle of birth and death, and that is very necessary. Like, we can take whatever kind of species of human form of life, or even otherwise, and then they can give us that kind of phase of feeling of this means life as well. So the perspective that makes the perspective more clear. So thank you very much for elaborating that. And Krishna actually arranged that way that Mataji shared her own experience for our own benefit. So thank you to Mataji as well for sharing her inner heart, and in that way making us more and more like how we can be more and more intense on practicing whatever you are teaching from us, from the scriptures, the teaching of Bhagavad Gita. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Dandavat
Krishna.
Pranam.
Thank you so much, everyone. So request everyone to be attentive in all the sessions. We'll be uploading these recordings, but it's always better to attend sessions live. So request everyone to continue attend live sessions and participate in group discussions, participate in chant, fill your fill the fill the feedback form. Last time also we got many feedbacks, and we'll respond to some of the questions that we received during the course of this week. But we request you all to be give your feedback, keep the two-way communication open, so we all we can interact with you more often, and that way we all benefit in the process. Thank you so much for joining. We'll
Hare
conclude today's
Krishna,
session.
Prabhuji.
Yes, Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Mai ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Hari Bol, Jai Jagannath. Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Jai Jagannath.